Welcome to another exciting episode of Knife Chats with Tobias, almost live. This episode was recorded in front of a live studio audience. Well, it was recorded in front of a live cat. Any case, hope you enjoy the show.
Well, Mele Kalikimaka, it's time for December's almost live. It's going to be actually an open tag that I'm throwing out there for the knife community called The Knives That Got Away. And, well, you know what? I realized here it is coming up on Christmas, and I do not have a single knife that is a Christmas themed knife. I've got a couple of Halloween themed knives, but for the most part, it's not something I collect. I don't collect like Christmas knives or Halloween knives, so that's why you have these Hawaiian knives out here, and that's why I said Mele Kalikimaka, because that's Hawaii's way of saying Merry Christmas. So that's about as close as I can get to a Christmas themed knife. And that's probably why instead of doing an open tag on Christmas themed knives, I've done a open tag for knives that got away. And well, with that said, let's move on to the almost live for December 2021. Hey everybody, Tobias here from Knife Chats with Tobias, down here at my workbench, and I came up with this idea for an open tag for the end of the year. So you can take it or leave it. I know we all do something at the end of the year. One of the typical things I've done in the past, and will probably do again, is where I talk about where I want to go with my knife collection in 2022. Another thing that a lot of people like to do is show off their favorite knives that they picked up in 2021. I want to go in a different direction this time, though. What I want to do is, I think we all have those knives that we bought. We had every intention of doing a video on them, but for one reason or another, things just slipped away and we never got around to doing that video on that particular knife or knives. And that's what this is let's show the knives that we bought in 2021. And I'm not talking about right now in December of 2021, but previously in 2021, that we had every intention of doing a video on, and for one reason or another, things just got away from us and we never had the opportunity to cut that video and show off that knife. So basically, it's kind of show us the knives that got away in 2021 that you wanted to do a video on, but you never got around to doing. And you don't have to go into great detail on the knives, just, show them. And maybe these are knives that one of these days you promise you'll get around to doing a real video on, but for right now, it's just, this is a knife I bought in 2021. I really wanted to review, and I never did. So let's take a look at those. And as I'm the one who's starting this open tag, let me show you some of mine. Okay, put my glasses on so I can see what I'm looking at here. And the first one is right here. It's a Buck 119. It's going to be going along with this K-bar, and the reason is these knives were given to me, and they belonged originally to my brother-in-law, who passed away about a year or two ago, and someone knew that I collect knives, basically my sister, and she said, would you like these knives? And well, how could I pass on those? And regretfully, I have not had the time to do these knives justice, but I will show them real quickly here. There's nothing new about these knives. They're both made in the USA. You can see right here, one of them is a Buck, the other one is a K-bar. And these were my brother-in-law's hunting knives. Well, the first one is the famous Buck 119, with the 16-inch blade, the phenolic handle, and I will eventually get around to doing a video on this knife and the other knife, but I just haven't had a chance to yet. Just stamped Buck 119 USA. I'm guessing the Buck fans out there know more about when this knife was made than I do, but it's in really good shape, excellent shape, and yeah, it was used by somebody who does a lot of hunting and fishing, or did a lot of hunting and fishing, and it's your classic black pistol holster type sheath for it, which is pretty cool too. So that one means quite a bit to me, simply because it was my brother-in-law's. Same with this other knife here, another fantastic USA made knife, this time by Ka-Bar, and nice leather sheath. And this is the Ka-Bar 1207. If you can see it right there, Ka-Bar 1207. And there you have it. It's got the finger grooved stacked leather handle. You got a nice crossbar there. It looks like a brass crossbar. Would have had to polish it up. You can see some of the tarnish going on there, and you can also see the tarnish showing up on the leather sheath. But really just a beautiful little Ka-Bar aluminum pommel. Great little knife, and great big knife really. Got a 6-inch blade going on, 5-inch handle, so 11 inches overall. And yeah, these knives I will definitely have to get around to talking more about in 2022, but it's been too long that I have not mentioned these on the channel, so I thought I would break these out and show them right now. There's 2 other knives by my brother-in-law that I will also have to show in a little bit too, but that'll be when I get back over to the workbench. Okay, this next knife, well, we're going in a totally different direction from that Buck 119 and the Ka-Bar 1207 with this next knife. Well, let's just break it out and show it. I was actually looking for elephant toenail knives, and this popped up in my eBay search, and it's an elephant knife. You see the elephant pommel there, an elephant cross guard there. You got elephants engraved into the fake metal handle. I think it's the man's steel or something. You got an elephant etch on the blade, and then you got the scabbard here that also is covered in, adorned in elephants of all kinds and everything. And I don't know if this is plastic or what, the scabbard, but that's the other part of it. And I had big plans for doing a video on this knife, and basically it was going to involve Skip the Show, because and maybe I'll end up getting around to it or not, or you'll see it later in some kind of a Skip the Show moment or something. But basically I'm thinking that this is definitely something that could be hanging on the wall in Skip the Show's Volcano Club. And that when I saw it and I got it at a really good price, that's why I ended up going ahead and grabbing my elephant knife, because I thought, yeah, Skip will like it. It'll look good in the Volcano Club. So that's where this came around. So maybe Skip will get it for Christmas. Okay, this next knife is a combat ready neck knife. I went through this neck knife phase where I was just, you saw the push daggers and everything. Well, they're kind of like neck knives, and I saw this one and it's like, all right, I'll go ahead and get it. Now, for those unfamiliar, Combat Ready is a house brand of Smoky Mountain Knife Works. They've got several house brands, but Combat Ready is one of the newer house brands that they have. And I saw this and it's like, okay, I'll go ahead and pick it up, because I don't have a proper neck knife. I've got knives that can be used as a neck knife, but not marketed as a neck knife. Basically, a neck knife, the only thing that makes a neck knife is the fact that the sheath can be worn around the neck in some fashion, and you can carry the knife in that sheath. Typically what we're looking at these days is a Kydex-like. This is just a cheap plastic sheath that you can hang upside down and the knife snaps into it. You can pull it out, and then you got a little, usually self-defense kind of knife going on with it. And this one is wrapped in camouflage paracord, so it's definitely, tough. You also, right here, you can grab it here too if you want to, because it's not sharp there, but you feel a whole lot safer grabbing it back there, but not a whole lot of handle to hold on to. Any case, I picked it up because, I didn't really have a proper neck knife. I've got knives that can be worn around the neck. My Izula can be worn around the neck even, and that would be a more practical, useful neck knife. But I wanted one of those little self-defense neck knives that everyone raves about, because you can't be tactic cool without a neck knife. So that's about all you're going to hear about this thing. It's like $7, and it's a little cheap neck knife. And so I got that review in. It's done. Let's move over to the workbench and look at some other knives that I really wanted to review this year, but just never got around to. Mele Kalikimaka is the thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day. Yeah, not my favorite instrument, the ukulele. Hey, all you knife chatters out there, your old pal Skip the Show coming at you, wishing you season's greetings from the Volcano Club. I know you ain't here right now and you're not going to be able to make it because, well, quite frankly, we close for the holidays. But me and Knife Chats with Tobias, we got some great promos coming up in the new year 2022, and we're really hoping that you're around to see them. So kind of watch it when you're drinking the little eggnog from those moose cups and all that hot buttered rum and all that other stuff that you usually can't find here at the Volcano Club, because the last thing we want is for you to be pulled over drunk and end up in jail or in the graveyard. So watch out over the holidays, drive safely, don't get drunk or anything like that, don't do anything stupid, so that you're around in 2022 so you can come to the Volcano Club, enjoy all of those great Knife Chats with Tobias promos, and get drunk here. And don't worry, we'll get you the cab fare to get home safe and sober. Anyway, it's 2021, it's almost over, and it's Skip Out! Okay, camera's been shifted around. We're over here at the workbench proper now, and right up front you see two knives, a Swiss Army knife and a Leatherman here. Now this is a another knife that I got from my sister from my brother-in-law who passed away. Both of these are. And this is a Swiss Army, well, a Victorinox Ranger. I've done a video on a Ranger before, but this one is pretty cool because it does have the handle for the camper on there. And for those who don't know, the Ranger comes with, a wood saw and a and also the metal file, metal saw, and the scissors here. This is an older one. You can tell that from the corkscrew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, still a 4-turn corkscrew, but it is fluted. It only has the older style punch going on. It does not have the hook going on, and also it looks like it's got the aluminum tip for the tweezers. So it's an older Victorinox Ranger, which is pretty cool. I do have another Ranger, but it doesn't have the camping inlay, and that is inlaid. That's not stamped in there. And this is also inlaid. It's an actual shield inlaid into the cellar door handle. So that's pretty cool. And then this is the first actual Leatherman that I own. Someone had asked, why don't you ever review Leatherman? Well, I don't own a Leatherman, and now I do own a Leatherman. And that's a tarnish from the brass clip on the leather scabbard here, or leather sheath. Really nice leather sheath when you get right down to it. But this is the very first Leatherman I have. I do not know what model number it is. I don't know if it's going to be marked on there either. But Leatherman USA. Yeah, pretty cool. Got all the tools down here somewhere, and I'll look at that because I will do a review of this later, but I really had hoped to do one before the end of the year. Millimeters and inches on there. Someone asked why I don't really carry Leatherman or these kind of multi-tools, and it's really, I just never got around to it. But maybe now that I have a Leatherman, I will have to take a closer look at them. In any case, these two knives again, or the Swiss Army knife and the Leatherman here, are also things that at one time belonged to my brother-in-law. Okay, starting at the top here, I had to grab one of these. This is a Diamond brand Superior multi-purpose knife, and the reason I had to grab this is because it is probably the most common Swiss Army knockoff knife you're going to find, and you'll recognize it right away as soon as I get it out of the box by the that weird Q with the four-pointed star in the middle, and then all the tools across the back and everything. And well, the crappy tweezers and everything else. And I picked it up because, well, I do have a collection of all the crappy Swiss Army knockoff knives. So I will maybe go over this later in the future, and what I'll do is try and compare it to the closest match of a true Swiss Army knife to this knife. But I just had to grab one simply because though I do have other ones in the collection, I did not have one in a box, and I got it at a pretty decent price. But that is right there the most common Swiss Army knockoff knife you're going to find. And yeah, it is garbage. I do not recommend anyone buying one of these knives unless you're just a crazy nut like me who goes around buying crappy Swiss Army knockoff knives just to make fun of them. Seriously, just spend a few extra bucks and get a used Victorinox or Wenger. You'll be a whole lot happier in the long run. And used Victorinox knives are not that expensive, especially if you're just looking for a modern one that's slightly used. You can get them for a song. Now next up is this knife here. As you can tell, it's a Marlinspike knife, and you see here that it is made by a company called Gill. I'm sure that's a company that supplies all sorts of other nautical equipment to sailors and stuff. But even then, this knife is not like any other Marlinspike knife I've ever seen. For one thing, you see here, it's got a glass breaker tip going on here. Yes, there is a hole in there, so you could put like a key ring on there so that you could attach a lanyard to it. But right there, that tip is a glass breaker, something you don't normally see on a Marlinspike knife. And then, well, here's the Marlinspike. Kind of got a funky little tip going on there. It does not lock. But, you know, if you're holding it like so and stuff, you're going to be able to use it okay. And also notice it has a kind of a stonewash finish to it, or, well, definitely not the typical shiny finish to it. It's kind of like a black wash on it. The handles, the covers, they're actually G10, which is also something you normally don't see too often. Held on, you see it's all torqued together and everything, so it's got a couple modern features going on with it. Half stop on the Marlin spike. And then it's got two funky blades here. And by funky, I really do mean funky. Now the main cutting blade, it does have a thumb stud, so you can actually open it with the thumb stud. And notice the serrations there. They're really not what you usually see on a knife, but I have seen it on like some seatbelt cutters and stuff, using a blade serration like that. But it's pretty effective on rope. And notice the tip. You definitely can't poke anything with that tip. And even this portion right here is not sharpened. The only portion that's sharpened is the portion of the serrations that you see there. And as you can tell, it's only one-sided with the serration. So I'm guessing it's probably pretty easy to sharpen. I have not used this yet. Maybe I will, and then maybe I'll do a full review of it. But you also see liner lock there. And let's close her down. And then you've got this other funky blade on the other side here. And if we open that up, you see your shackle key there. You got a screwdriver tip here. But there you also have something that can cut line, as long as that line is basically, well, maybe a 1/2 inch in diameter, but more likely a 3/8 inch diameter line. You can just get that line right in there and just pull and cut through there. So that's pretty cool. And then you also have a, what size is that? I would say 3/8 inch bolt right there. And you could also use that in that spot there for a bottle opener. And you could also probably use it as a shackle key there too. So it's kind of a cool blade, and as you can see again, it locks. So nice liner lock going on that too. So it's not what you normally find in a marlin spike knife. So it's pretty cool. I found one, hadn't seen one in years, and saw one on eBay, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and grab it. I should have grabbed it 10 years ago. So that's pretty much a pretty full review of it. But if I use it and do anything with it, maybe I'll give you a better review of it. But there's my Gill marlin spike knife that I never got around to talking about. Now here's a knife that was hiding off camera, and I really do need to do a review on this knife. But so many people have been doing reviews of Imperial knives that it's like, well, everyone knows how good they are. They're not bad at all. So do I really need to review this knife? I bought it because it was Cracked Ice Cigar Whittler, and it was one of those things that, like, hey, I can get it for $6. Why not just go ahead and pick it up? It's got double nail nicks, double match strike nail nicks. They don't really need that one out there. I like the one down here, but that's okay. They put them both on there. I really need to clean it up. Got a good half stop, boom. And then you got the two blades over here. They definitely are tight. Hopefully they'll work in. You got the little pin blade there, and then the little coping blade. Those blades are a little small, hopefully, but they feel pretty strong. They don't seem to be too flexible. So maybe you'll see this again in the future. I picked it up because, well, just wanted an Imperial cigar whittler, and I didn't see a really inexpensive one in Desert Ironwood, so I went ahead and grabbed this one. In any case, maybe there'll be more on this in the future. Ooh, and here we have a Trapper. It's a Hoof and Hay 2. This is by Frost Cutlery. You can see that on the side there. And I picked it up because, well, it's got a little horsey shield. And I thought, well, what the heck, I'll go ahead and grab one. If I could have found it in white smooth bone, I would have been happier with it. And I do plan on comparing this to the most recent Rough Rider equestrian knives. And I tell you what, looking at it right now, I got a feeling the Rough Rider Equestrian knife is probably your better bet, but it doesn't have a horsey shield. You got the little hoof pick, and then your typical trapper blade. Man, these things are really weak. You talk about a weak, that we're talking 2, maybe 3, but yeah. Anywho, that might be all you see of this, but it has a little horsey shield, and it has a pretty box. Hoof and hay too. Hoof and hay, yeah man, hoof and hay. And finally, these 2 knives have been sitting around in my collection for a while now, and I keep wanting to review them, but I just haven't got around to it, and it's because I've reviewed so many other squirrel hunters or cub lockbacks, and these are 2 cub lockbacks from before Rough Rider that were made by Colt. Notice the Colt magnetic boxes. Do they look familiar? Yeah, they're very much like your magnetic boxes by Rough Rider now. And this one is in their titanium series. This titanium series rolled over into the Rough Rider lineup. It's got a black smooth bone handle, and you got that nice titanium coat on the blade there. Man, this thing opens so smoothly. Nice lock up there, and you see the little swedge going on there. Everything you see in a Rough Rider cub lockback, but several years earlier when Colt was making them instead. Look at that nice Colt shield. No, nothing on the bolster there. And then the other one I picked up, yeah, I really do need to do a proper video on these 2 knives just to do them justice. But you got that one there, and then here's the other one I have, and this one is in black mother of pearl. You notice you have the little spacer in between there, or whatever you want to call it. The little looks like brass, might be nickel silver, and then you got the brass liners there. And now you have the pinch bolster, but now you do have the skewered caterpillar for the little Colt C there. You know, I like that skewered caterpillar. Otherwise, it's just like your Rough Riders or your Queens, except the Queen City ones, the pearl is all in one piece. It doesn't have the little spacer in between there. But yeah, I guess I will eventually get around to doing these just so I can see skewered C again. But there's some of the knives that just got away from me, and I never got around to doing a video in 2021. A couple of them you might see next year. Some of them you will not see again, unless there is some kind of background photo or something like that. But yeah, if you are also a YouTube creator and you've got those knives that you really wanted to shoot a video on and never got around to doing it, how about taking a few moments out now and putting a video together of them and let us see them. Doesn't matter if it's 2 knives, 3 knives, 10 knives, whatever. Doesn't matter if you go into great detail or little detail or no detail. Just let us see some of the knives that got away in 2021.
that brings us to the conclusion of another exciting episode of Knife Chats with Tobias Almost Live. If you liked what you saw, give us that thumbs up and leave us a comment. We always like to hear from you here at Knife Chats with Tobias. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next exciting episode of Knife Chats with Tobias is up and running. But thanks again, and we'll see you soon.